What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for the post-mortem as Forest have beaten Tottenham 3-0 yesterday at the City Ground. And I was there yesterday and, oh my days, it was probably worse in person than it was watching it here from your screens. But I can't believe how bad it was yesterday, you know. I really cannot believe how bad it was. You know, you go up there with all the hope and belief after, you know, Spurs seemingly looked like they could potentially be turning a corner with some positive displays, positive result in Newcastle. We back that up with a really good, convincing win against Brentford. We get over the line against Slavia Prague, albeit I thought we, you know, conceded a bit too many chances, but we showed attacking intent in that game and you know, more or less definitely deserved the victory, and we move on. And you think this game against Forest is another real big opportunity in the Premier League to get another win, 17th in the table. And they've lost 2 out of their last 3 games, last one losing 3-0 against Everton. And it was a performance that just completely lacked any sort of grit, lacked any sort of belief from our players, lacked ability to make a 5-yard pass from the majority of the players. I think Mickey van der Ven and Rodrigo Bentancur, I swear, like they couldn't make a 5-yard pass for pretty much the whole game. And it's just so frustrating, man. I believe that now Spurs, in terms of errors leading to a goal, sits second in the Premier League, which is, how is that even possible? It's like ridiculous, man. No sort of tactical flexibility from Frank to be able to turn the game in our favour. There was just nothing on that pitch to go on. We got completely overawed by this aggressive Nottingham Forest side where Spurs showed no aggressive edge to their game whatsoever. I think, you know, Cuti Romero was trying in terms of that nature, but he couldn't do it alone. No other player could seemingly step up to the challenge that Nottingham Forest were facing us. They were, you know, beating us in all the 50-50 challenges all over the pitch. It's just back to, you know, I actually think that was probably our worst display of the season. Like,
when you take in consideration who we played.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've had such disastrous displays this season. You know, Arsenal. The list is like literally endless.
It's growing.
The list is endless. You got Arsenal, Chelsea, Bournemouth, Monaco, Boda. Which ones am I missing out? Fulham.
Fulham.
You know what I mean? Wolves. Like, it's like a never-ending list. And just as you think you're turning that corner, they're here to slap you in the face with another one that's probably the worst of the lot against this Nottingham Forest side. And it's just unbelievable,
and
man.
I guess the big problem as well for Frank after this game, obviously, you have that disastrous performance as well, but the big problem is we like all the things like we were saying needed to change, and he kind of got this formula. It seemed against Brentford, you know, Gray and Bentancur together, Xavi in the 10, Kudus on the right, Moani off the left. You know, the strongest back 5 we have, Spence inverting, all these different things. And it seemed, okay, he's got a formula that can, you know, get us attacking, get us looking good, being a bit, you know, we didn't give many chances away to Brentford, who were defensively solid, the fullbacks were flying up. So it's, okay, that's your, mate, is that your strongest 11? You know, that's probably the best front 4 players we have at the club, all in the team. So you have that kind of formula that they got against Brentford, and then against Forest, it's like one of the worst we've seen. So how does he move forward from here? So is that not the answer then? Is Frank completely back to square one and trying to find a balance again in that team when it looked like he found it, and it's now gone completely out the window? So where does he go from here? What changes does he make? Because all the changes he makes, unless maybe he's putting Richarlison on the bench, Moani up front and bring a left winger in, like all the changes he makes is going to get a negative response. What change could he make to that 11 that is going to, apart from Rishi out, that is going to get a positive response?
I don't think there is one. I think maybe
Paulinho
you're
in.
clutching
I
at
don't
straws.
know. Like,
you know, maybe Bergvall in the team, maybe Tell in the team. I don't know. I don't think there is one.
That's a massive issue.
Yeah,
so like that, if that's your best 11 and that's the 11 like all the fans want to see and that's what they're serving up, like it's kind of like, what do we do now? Like what do we do with the upcoming games? Do we just persist with this 11 and hope that we never see what we saw yesterday again? Knowing Frank, he's a tinker man. He'll probably tinker with something. I don't know.
Wasn't it the first time this season that we've actually gone from Premier League to exactly the same
unchanged?
11?
It must be. I can't remember another situation. He's tinkered with so many different styles of build-up, formation. He kind of settled on this one. It worked against Brentford, but now it hasn't worked. So is he going to tinker again, or is he going to trust it?
Everyone keeps going, stop tinkering, stop changing it so drastically. And the one time where he goes exactly the same from a good performance, exactly the same 11, and it's an absolute shit show. So I mean, I genuinely, I'm lost for explanations and answers of how we move forward and how we get a sort of consistent level out of this team. I'm really lost. I genuinely don't know.
But we talk about consistency and inconsistency. The reality is that Brentford game was a one-off.
Absolutely.
We are a consistent team. We're just consistently poor.
Yeah,
that's the truth. We're like, people say, oh, you know, with young teams and new managers, there's going to be inconsistency, and I get that. That's fair, but we're not inconsistent. We're poor way more often than we're not. When you're talking about giving, and I know I'm going straight to Frank, but when you talk about giving a manager time, you're talking about giving him time for a project, and I think that's fair enough. But when you're assessing how a manager's doing, there's going to be bad spots. I get that, but there should be some good ones as well. We haven't seen many good from this manager at all.
Yeah, no,
it's really rare. You're literally clutching at straws when you're looking at the good moments. A lot of them, by the way, were used up probably in the first two games.
Yeah.
After City and PSG, those two games, you take those away, we're literally clutching at the thinnest of straws when you're talking about positives.
Yeah.
That Brentford game, a half an hour spell against Brighton where we played quite well. A good win against Everton where we relied on set pieces. It's literally, we are so bad on the ball. It's incredible how bad we are. How are we now 16 games in, 25 in all competitions? We're in December, we're going to the Christmas period, and we still have no discernible kind of idea of how to keep possession, how to build up from the back, how to progress through the lines, how to create chances consistently, how to break teams down. Our intensity seems to swing wildly from game to game. One game we look really intense, the next game we look completely off it. We had a 5-day break from the last game. Forest played on Thursday. I know they made a lot of changes, but they played on Thursday. Probably a lot of their players came off the bench, so a lot of their players probably played. So, if anyone should have been lagging a bit, it should have been them. They had to travel to Holland. We didn't. We played on Tuesday. So why the hell was our intensity way off it and they look completely fresh and sharp?
There's no excuses for it. There is no excuses for it. And I'm telling you now, what we're being served up on a consistent basis now, from pretty much the start of the season to now, has been, in my opinion, a sackable offence. It really has. We've been that bad. And I think probably where we're at in the league, what are we, 11th in the league right now?
At the moment, yeah.
That probably puts a bit of gloss on how we've been playing this season. I think we deserve, with what we're performing consistently, we should be lower down than that, in my opinion. I look at the teams below us and I think, some of those teams probably have been better than us this season. And that's a damning statement in terms of where Spurs are at right now. And I genuinely believe it is a sackable offence, but what do we do now? Because I genuinely believe it as well. You can't sack him, because where do we turn?
They won't sack him. But I think it's a similar issue to last season, in a sense that you're looking at, okay, do we sack him? But then do you just want to put an interim in charge? Is there a real manager that you can appoint on a full-time basis right now without trying to get them out of a club that they're already in, who you believe is a good long-term fit for the club and you want to give a long contract? Probably not. Is there a manager who maybe can just be, I don't know, let's say Harry Redknapp or whatever, a manager who you think, okay, let's give you or Sherwood when we appointed him, can we give you a 6-month contract and give you to the end of the season either to prove yourself or just to be a stopgap? I don't know who that person would be. Do we give an interim like Cochrane or even Matt Wells, who's about to be a manager maybe somewhere else? Do we look at him and think, okay, you can be interim for 6 months? I guess what is the use in that? But then again, the football we are getting served up by this manager is absolutely dire, and fans are, I don't know if it's running or have run out of patience, either one. I think it's turning it's becoming unwatchable, this football. It's been unwatchable for a large part of the season, but I think when you're getting dominated as bad as we are against a team like Forest, who I know have got good players and probably are in a bit of a false position with the quality of players they got, but still they've been really poor this season for large parts. They don't exactly play expansive football, especially since Sean Dyche has come in. They got absolutely battered by Everton last week, and yet they play against us and they're knocking it about. They're olaying us for half an hour or 20 minutes. They're olaying us at the end of the game. It's embarrassing. How of Sean Dyche, if you ask me what manager is the least likely to manage a team who's olaying anyone, I'll probably say Sean Dyche is near the top of the list.
Mad, isn't it?
And yet there he is, playing like prime Barcelona, knocking it around, Tottenham chasing shadows, and the fans are lapping it up, and it's just embarrassing.
You know, it's become a regular occurrence just to sit in an away end now and just be completely embarrassed of what our team is serving up. Like, the last 2 away games I've been to in the Premier League is Arsenal and Nottingham Forest, and by the end of the game, both the away ends were completely empty. You know, we went up there, we're like, yeah, you know, Spurs are giving us a Christmas present, they're giving us the scarves, what a great football club, you know, they're giving back to the fans and all that, but when you get served that dross on the pitch, it means absolutely nothing. Like, yeah, great, we got a scarf, whoop-de-doo. You know what I mean? I think most fans were using it as a blindfold during the game more than anything else. It's just like, it's so embarrassing. That moment that you're talking about when they're olaying us and the whole stadium is singing, you got your scarf, now fuck off home, and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, you just want the ground to swallow you up. And I was one of the ones that actually, I didn't stay till the end of Arsenal, but I stuck it out to the end yesterday. And I probably wish I didn't, because I was just sitting there and getting bantered for literally 20 minutes, 25 minutes from Nottingham Forest fans.
Yeah.
It's just mental. Like, against Arsenal, you can kind of understand it because, you know, they are the best team in the league at this moment in time. They're top of the league. They've got an unbelievable squad and they've been growing for years. Like, this Nottingham Forest side, they sacked 2 managers this season. They're sitting 17th in the league and they're bantering us. Mm-hmm. Like, what has the world come to? It's just madness.
In terms of how the game went, in terms of like the goals we conceded and the chance we created, in terms of the goals we conceded, I do blame Frank for. You do have to lay some blame on Frank because, first of all, that Sangari goal, which they obviously great strike, don't get me wrong, fantastic. But how many times now have we conceded a goal from that kind of range this season? Just in recent weeks, it seems to be happening on a gamely basis. We conceded a goal from outside the box, no pressure on the ball, allowing them a free shot. Okay, fair enough. That, you know, I put some blame on Frank. The first goal, we're starting to make more and more mistakes. Surely, as the season goes on, you're supposed to be getting better and better from build-up as you learn what Frank wants to do and how he wants to build up and how he wants the team to function when we have the ball. Yet, in recent weeks, we are making more and more mistakes from build-up.
So, like I said it before, but I read a stat saying that no team apart from Wolves have made more errors leading to a goal than Spurs this season. Mm-hmm. Like, how? Why are our players making so many errors? Why does this keep happening game after game after game, error after error? I read a stat, I don't know how true it is, maybe you can verify it for me, but I think Spurs Express or someone brought out a stat saying that 72% of our goals have been Vicario's fault or something this season.
I saw that stat. I don't know if that's true. Look, I have to go. We would have to go through it one by one. I don't know. It depends how they. That seems
incredibly high.
I don't think it's like necessary. I don't know how they portion blame.
Yeah.
Is it an error because it's like an official error, like from Opta, or is it because from the eye test, Vicario's at fault? I don't know how they... like, for example, the first goal that we conceded against Fulham, is that a Vicario error because it went in? I don't know. The second one definitely was. Like, how many goals against Arsenal were Vicario's fault? I don't really know many of those were his fault that I can remember. So I don't know. I don't know how they calculate that. So I'll be sceptical of that stat.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 100%. But I don't know if you noticed this yesterday, but there was a moment in the game, I think it was after the second goal went in, I felt like, watching it on the pitch, that the players just didn't want to pass back to Vicario. I felt like there was a bit of like, I don't know what the word is, maybe the players are losing a bit of trust in him. I felt like they didn't want to pass back to him. They wanted to have him on the ball as little time as possible. And I just felt there was something there yesterday, which I've never noticed before.
I didn't notice that, but look, being there, you notice different things. I mean, that would be damning on him. Obviously, he has made quite a few mistakes on the ball. And I remember even going back to the pre-season under Ange. Remember, he was gifting goals away from playing out the back. Like, I know that was pre-season, but it's just something he has never really got on top of, has it? Vicario, it doesn't matter how much training he's got, he just never seems comfortable. He does panic. He always has this air of panic, and he doesn't have composure. And that is one of, if not his biggest weakness.
If we're going to play the way that we're going to play, we need a goalkeeper that can play out the back. That's just a reality. You know, you can be an unbelievable shot stopper and all that kind of stuff, but if we're going to persist with the way that we're going to play, playing out the back, you need a goalkeeper that can play out the back. That's just reality.
Most teams play out the back now these days. I mean,
most teams have keepers that can play out the back, though.
That Man City, they play out the back. Donnarumma is not exactly the best.
It's true, but Donnarumma has only been in this season. Every other year, they've had a goalkeeper that can play out the back.
Yeah.
You know, most keepers now can play out the back. You know, it's very rare now for keepers not being able to do that.
In terms of the first goal, there's been a big debate online who's at fault for that goal. Jamie Carragher was blaming Vicario. Thomas Frank blamed Gray. Porro came out in an interview saying it was a mistake from Gray. I don't like that we're now fighting about who's to blame, but in the stands, was there any particular
in the stands it was more on Vicario. There was so much frustration coming from the away end to Vicario, man. Like, literally, he was the one getting the most grief out of anyone in the away end, for sure. And look, when you're in the away end, it's up the other end of the pitch. It's hard to see it, completely spot on. But when I saw it afterwards, I just think it's a shit show from both of them, to be honest. I think it's a poor pass from Vicario, where how many times have we got to say, Vicario, just lump it, Vicario, just clip it out to someone out wide, just do something. Don't play a hospital ball to Archie Gray. Even if it's a poor ball and it's to his wrong foot, I think Archie Gray could do more than that and could spray it somewhere. But yeah, I think it's just a shit show all round. But I don't like Frank and Porro coming out and blaming Archie Gray, a 19-year-old central midfielder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I think when you look at that situation, I think Gray has to pass that first time. That's what Frank is saying. But the pass was not a good pass. Vicario, for some reason, by the way, he had Van der Ven to his left, so that was an easy pass. For some reason, he decides to take on his weaker foot and play it to Archie Gray, who's running towards goal. Now, that is a situation that is going to happen thousands of times, hundreds of times during the season. So it's not like that's like I don't like people saying, oh, you should just lump it forward or all that kind of stuff. No, you're training to play out the back. That should be a very simple situation to deal with. You pass into Gray, he's got to run on his midfield marker, and he passes it off to Romero. That is like something that's going to happen hundreds, thousands of times during the season. So I don't have a massive problem for Vicario doing that pass. However, the pass wasn't good. It was bobbling. It was on Gray's weak foot. So it kind of forced him to take a touch in a way. But is Gray a good enough player to just gently with his left foot nudge that over to Romero first time without having to take a touch? He probably is. But it wasn't a good pass. And the pass encouraged a touch, put it that way. If he just calmly puts the pass to Gray's right foot and he's able to just knock it off easily to Romero, probably doesn't happen. But I think the quality of pass from Vicario definitely what puts him in trouble. I feel like people are criticising Vicario just for the fact that he passed to Gray in general, and I don't like that. I think that's the way we play, and I think that should be a simple move. It's not a difficult thing to do. Pass into Gray, he gives it off to Romero. That's not like even though he's got a player pressing him, that's still a pretty simple move. That's like things that most Premier League players on teams do. So I don't have a problem with him passing it to Gray in that situation.
But it's not choice, it's quality.
Yeah, it's a shit pass, and there's also shit from Gray for poor control from him, and he should have played it first time.
Why is he controlling it though? Like, I know it's gone on his wrong foot, and I know it's bobbling, and it's not the great pass, but you got to have more awareness about you and what's coming behind you. You know, he's running towards it, he's calling for it, and he gets it. Even if it's on his wrong foot, at least try to do something apart from take that touch.
Yeah,
he should know what's coming from behind him.
It's a mistake from him, but I think it is borne out from Vicario's poor pass in general. If it's a better pass, I do think he plays it first time. But I also think Graham does make a mistake. He takes a poor touch, and he could have played it first time as well. So I think they're both to blame. I think probably more Gray, but I think Vicario is not blameless whatsoever. It's terrible
100%,
decision making. It's terrible
100%.
decision making from him to play with his weak foot in that situation when Van der Ven's there. But if you're going to play the pass to Gray, make it a good pass. And it cost us a goal. And that's obviously... I mean, before then, they obviously hit the post already for us. They're already creating chances. We just barely looked in the game throughout the whole game. You could see from the first 5 minutes, we were completely off it.
Yeah. I said to Brian in the away, and after like the first couple of minutes of the game, I was like, we just look at shambles over here. Like, you could tell from the first minute, literally. Like, we had no sort of quality about us to make a 5-yard pass. It's just mad. Like, and in terms of like physicality and trying to dominate in that sense, like there was just nothing there. Like Forest were able to dominate us physically in every single part of the pitch. Like at half-time we were 1-0 down, right? It could have been 3 or 4. That's the reality. Like 3-0 flattered us massively in that game yesterday. And we're back to the bloody, what was it, 0.45 XG, what was it?
Oh, 3.
0.3. Fucking hell, man.
That was the lowest XG anyone's created against Forest this season. And they've, I know they've not been good, but still, I mean, we're the lowest, so we're technically the worst team Forest have played this season.
You know what? Like Archie Gray makes that mistake. He's a kid coming through, and we've all given him praise over this course of this season of how he's conducted himself and how he's played. At least he was the only one that actually drove forward and wanted to have a go at Nottingham Forest. He had that swivel kind of volley that forced to save out the keeper. That was the only chance we had the whole game. That's the only chance we had the whole game.
So embarrassing. I was looking at the XG numbers for this game, as I usually do, and there was a chance that makes up for basically most of our XG, which was Spence, who had a header blocked. I don't even remember that. When did he ever have a header blocked in
I don't know.
on the pitch? I don't remember that whatsoever. So there's the chance that makes up the majority of our XG is a chance I don't even remember. I don't even know. I'm doubtful what happened. I'm questioning that. Honestly, I don't know if it actually
If you don't
happened.
remember it, no one's going to remember it.
Frank said after the game, the first 2 goals were individual errors. So he's putting down Hudson-Odoi's second goal as an individual error. I'm guessing he's blaming Vicario. I don't know who else he'd be blaming.
So I thought Vicario's positioning was a bit weird for that, and maybe if he positions himself a bit differently, but I think it's just a massive slice of luck, that goal.
He's not expecting it to go that way.
It's a cross that floats all the way in. It happens from time to time, and look, like I said, I think his positioning was a bit off. But
he does get fingertips to it, so he does get a bit of a hand to it.
I don't know, man. It's just poor. It is poor from Vicario,
and
but
also it lands
it's
in the
a massive
slice
of luck.
It lands in the bottom corner.
Yeah.
So I think if I'm Vicario, I'm disappointed with that. As much as it is a slice of luck, like could he have dealt better with that? I think there's an argument he could have. He does get a bit of a hand to it. It lands in the bottom corner. As much as it is unexpected, that obviously he's trying to cross it. I think Vicario probably could do a bit better with that, to be honest. I think he probably could have tipped it over. So he was caught out unintentionally, but I don't think he covered himself much scoring in that situation. Obviously, the third goal was the third goal. That's just a great strike. I think the biggest thing for me, I think the goals, when I think about Frank, I don't... Obviously, I put some blame on him, but I'm not mad about Frank for the goals we conceded, as much as he takes his blame for that as well. I'm not mad at him specifically. I think a lot of that does come down to individuals. I am more mad at Frank with, yet again, the whole 90 minutes we create jack shit. And not only do we create nothing, we don't look like creating anything. We never threaten. We never get near the box. We have one method of attack, which again is either a transition, which I think we looked pitiful for most of the time, or is basically give it to Kudus or cross it in. And you're crossing into Murillo and Milenkovic up against Richarlison. Who thinks that's a good way of attacking? Who thinks that's ever going to be something that's ever going to bear fruit? That's obviously a losing strategy. I have to say, Xavi didn't have a great game, but at least he was trying things. He was making some poor decisions.
There was no movement around him.
There was no movement.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Apart from 1 or 2 displays like we've mentioned that we can take stuff from, there was no movement. Like Xavi is actually picking up some really good positions, and when he's on the ball, I thought he was doing a lot of good work at times, but there's no runners off him. So what's he supposed to do? And with Kudus was massively frustrating me yesterday because Kudus was seeing a lot of the ball down that right-hand side and he was just barging in. He would literally just barge into Nottingham Forest players and losing the ball.
Yeah, they had like 3-4 players around him every time.
It's just like, just to pass the ball. Like, you don't have to barge into them. You don't have to try and take everyone on every single time. Like, let's build up some attacks. You don't have to, like I said yesterday, like I keep saying week in, week out, like too many individuals on this team are just trying to do it all themselves. And it wasn't just Kudus yesterday. I thought Moani was doing the same thing. I thought Jed Spence was doing the same. Like all these players are just, there's no teamwork there. It's everyone just on their own little side quests. Like where's the teamwork? Like we had teamwork against Brentford. Where's that all gone in this game? It just feels like everyone's just trying to do it all on their own. And you can't win a game like that in the Premier League. You just can't.
And I agree. I think Kudus has got to be smarter in the sense that if you've got 3 or 4 players around you, because clearly teams are targeting you, because you clearly are a main threat, you're the only one who can dribble in the way he can. You've got to be smarter. If you've got 3 players around you, that means some players are going to be free. So you pop it off quickly and exploit the space. It's like he just wants to hang on to it. He's not interested in passing to his teammate to anything like that. It's just very frustrating watching that at points. And I think we have he's got players near him like Xavi and Gray and whatever. We've got to be able to exploit the space. It's like we've got no plan whatsoever. It's like the plan is to get to Kudus and his job is to dribble. It's not to do anything else. That's like what he's been asked to do.
Yeah.
And the lack of any sort of threat as well. We had chances, get on the edge of the box. I see it, and I think Stell pointed out as well. I see it. We get to the edge of the box, and there's maybe an opportunity to get a shot on goal, and we don't take it. And I think again that is hesitancy drilled in from the manager to not take those kind of efforts because they're low XG chances, and essentially I think he thinks they're a waste of time. He thinks you're unlikely to score those chances, so why bother? You might as well try and cross it in, because if you do get something on the end of that cross, that's going to be a high XG chance rather than shooting low. And I'm not saying we should have a tactic of always just shooting when we get to the edge of the box, because that's fine, but on occasion you should give it a go, give it a dig, and it feels like he doesn't like that. Another thing I also picked up on yesterday, which I don't like, and I think we've seen it all season, is defensively when we are in this mode where the team have a bit of possession and we're in our own defensive third, like being compact and whatever. I hate the fact that it seems as though even our striker Richarlison is also back in our defensive third, and he's also like basically either on the edge of the box or he's like 30 yards from goal. Like, I understand we want to defend as a team, but what it leads to is when we do win the ball back, we have no outlet. We have absolutely nothing. So we're either lumping the ball forward. Either you're asking Kudus or Moani or Richarlison to pick the ball up 30 yards from our own goal and charge the ball up the pitch and create a counter. And as soon as they get to the Forest half, they're basically out of energy. They're basically not got any energy left because they've got so much length for the pitch to go to the opposition goal. They've got no energy once they get to the Forest half. So we run out of momentum. Or we play a long ball to no one because we've got no one up front because everyone's back defending.
And it just comes back again.
So why not leave at least one player up front to try and hold the ball or to try and launch a counter? There seems like he's so focused on making sure everyone is back in the defensive third. We've got no outlet. So that's why we don't really score goals from counters either. The only time we score from a transition is when we win it in the middle third, and then we can pounce on them quickly. If we ever win it in our defensive third, we've got no method of attacking. We've got no transitional threat because we're so far away from the opposition goal. We always end up losing it. We always end up either losing momentum when we're running forward or lumping it forward to no one. So that is something that Frank has not been able to figure out. That's been happening all season, and it's a hard watch. And it also means we get penned in. It means it's very easy to pen us in because as soon as you get us in our defensive third, every player is there, which means it's very easy to build momentum against us. And it also means it probably leads to a lot of what we're seeing, which is long-range shots and stuff like that, because we allow long-range shots, and so we allow that momentum to build against us. And it's shocking. And we have to talk about those subs. What is he doing?
I was so angry at the subs at the time. It's just like you're 2-0 down. You're trying to find something that can, get one goal back. It's half an hour to go, 25 minutes to go still in the game. If you get one back, it's game on. You need 2 goals, and you're bringing on João Palhinha and Ben Davis. Like, I just don't understand it. Like, what is the thinking behind it? I think Ben Davis, I think he came on and, I think he shored up that left-hand side a little bit better than what Jed was doing, because I thought they got a lot of joy down that side when Jed was there. But there was just no attacking intent. At least Jed was having a bit of a go going forward. Like, Ben Davis and João Palhinha are not going to do anything to overturn a 2-0 deficit. All it felt like he was just he didn't want more goals to get conceded as opposed to trying to get back in the game.
Like, when you're 2-0 down, and in theory you would like to think the objective of the last however long, and half an hour, whatever, when they made the subs, would be, okay, we need to press higher, we need to put more risk to the game, we need to push the players higher. So
we went for damage limitations.
It's not. But you don't bring on Davis to Spence. The number one defender you would want in that situation is Spence.
Yeah.
He's the defender you want because he can defend one-on-one. He has the pace to cover large spaces if they do catch that on the counter-attack. He's the one who's going to be pushing up because he's got pace and he can take people on, potentially, and get to the byline. The last person you want in that situation is Ben Davis, because he's not going to cross the halfway line. He's not going to push forward. And if we do leave space, he's going to get caught out with his lack of pace, and he's not very good in one-on-one situation. He needs help. And that's pretty much what happened. He came on, he didn't cross the halfway line. He basically didn't really shore things up anyway. Hutchinson was having a pretty good game anyway, but I don't understand the thinking of, we're 2-0 down, we're going to have to push up now, we're going to have to leave some space in behind because we're going to have to go to try and get back in the game, and you bring on Ben Davis. That makes zero sense to me. Now, Paulinho and Bergvall, I can kind of get because our midfield were being bullied, so he wanted to change something. Bergvall obviously has a bit more forward thinking. Maybe he's thinking Paulinho, you bring him on, and if we're pushing forward, he can kind of cover up some space. But you also know that he's so limited on the ball. He's not exactly going to drag you back into the game with his ability on the ball. It's going to be him just winning tackles and trying to get you up the pitch that way, or making sure that they're limited on the counter. But didn't really work either, to be honest. But I don't know why he persists. I've been defending Rishi, but he was having a shocker. You take him off, you put Moani up top, and you bring on a winger. I don't understand what's so difficult about that. He took off Moani.
I know. Moani was our only one looking like he could potentially do anything.
He was dribbling, actually, and getting past people. Yeah. There was one point, I think he went past 3 players, and he had a transition. He screwed up himself. He should have passed it. But still, that showed, he can do something. Rishi was just having an all-time stinker. He had to come off. And it was very simple, but I don't know why he didn't do that immediately. On the hour mark, when he made those subs, you bring on Tell or Odebear, put him on the left, put Moani up front, you have a more attacking threat. For some reason, he just couldn't see it. He just didn't do it. His decisions were baffling. The attack was non-existent.